Hi guys, my name is Jamal Vincent and welcome to my channel. So today we will be talking about 7 facts about me. And fact number 7 is that I was born hard of hearing. Now I was born 3 months premature. And as a result of that, at least in my head, this is how I actually became HOH. Since no one in my family is hard of hearing or really has any other disability, as far as I know. Um, but I was born 3 months premature, and no one really knew that I was hard of hearing until I was 6. And when I was 6, I had gone to my mom and said, Mommy, when are you going to take me to the doctor so I can hear again? And then my mom took me to the doctor, and she was like, oh, I look at that. You can't hear properly. Thank you for my dramatic recreation. I know. I'm the best actor you've ever seen since Leonardo DiCaprio. Who Leo got his out. This was a couple years ago, but Leo got his Oscar, and I'm proud of him. He deserved it. So yes, I was born HOH, and no one really knew until I was 6. And when I was 6, I had gotten my hearing aids, and they were issued by the Department of Education. They were made for me specifically for the school. I didn't really like wearing them because it always made my ear itchy. So I'd always take them out. And I also didn't like them in middle school because I would have to walk up to the front of the class to give them to my teacher and, well, to give the microphone to my teacher. And the microphone was essentially a brick. It was like this, but skinnier and longer, and it was a brick. Kinda, sorta. And the annoying thing about the microphone was that if anyone had sort of like if the classroom was noisy, I would hear it in my ear and it would be amplified because that was just the hearing aid that I had. It was an amplification one. It wasn't one where it tries to cross over audio from one ear to the other to try and stimulate that ear because I'm mild to moderate in my left ear and moderate to profound in my right ear, so I can hear nothing out of this ear. Hearing in this ear is virtually dead. I can feel vibrations, of course, but if you were to really truly whisper in my ear and be absolutely quiet, I couldn't hear you. I would have no clue what you were saying. So that would kind of be the very frustrating thing about it, which would really suck, and which was part of the reason that I would just take my hearing aid off and just leave it off and just not like it. Especially with me having to walk up to the front of the class because I've performed and stuff like that. We'll talk about that later and everything. But that was the kind of attention that I didn't quite like. It felt like everyone was looking at me and staring at me, and I'm like, I don't like it. Fact 6 about me is that ich habe für 3 Jahre Deutsch gesprochen. I've been speaking German for about for 3 years now. I started it in my freshman year of college, and I'm up to currently a B1 or B2 level of German, which means that if I were to go over to Germany, I could reasonably survive and manage and make my way around the city and whatever German city I was in. I could do that for like a week or so and survive, and my German would get much better instantly just from being there and having to adjust so much of it every single day. Phone's in German. It's been in German for years now. Um, so it's just kind of a constant way for me to sort of practice it and know what I'm saying and know what I'm reading and everything. I want to go over to Germany and actually live in Germany. And the reason I started learning German was because I have friends that live over in Germany. Hi, Thea and Ellie. They probably aren't watching these videos, but let it be known that I said hi. If you guys are learning a language, or if you have a language that you want to learn, pop it down in the description. Pop it down in the description just so I can see what people are saying and what people want to learn. I've been learning German for 3 years now, and I really personally wanted to learn it One, because German is cool, and two, because I have friends who speak German, and I wanted to speak to them in their native language, like they can speak to me in mine, that being English. So it was kind of mainly for that. I would have learned French, but my French friend Marie, and I haven't spoken to her in years. I miss her. I miss her. I miss her. She's amazing. She was amazing. I loved her. And now, fact five about me is that I want to be a teacher. When I was in school, I was in school for Alice in English education and creative writing. I was a double major. I'm currently not in school now. I was in my junior year, but I have to stop it for medical reasons, which we will talk about a little bit later. And when I was in school, I was an Alice in English education major with the creative writing double major. So I wanted to go and teach high school English, specifically high school English, because I feel like college. I feel like high school should prepare you for college, and that's not happening in high schools, at least in America, anyway. So I wanted to sort of like help fix that, and I wanted to do reading, do English specifically because I am. I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of an author. Kind of an author here. So, words in my life, words have been my life for years now. I've loved words, I've loved writing, I've been writing ever since I could hold a pen, and I just want to like spread the love of books and of reading. And whenever I speak to people about writing, well, about reading, they say that they don't like reading, which is frustrating for me because I'm like, how could you not like reading? Reading is like breathing. You wouldn't be alive without breathing. Reading is like breathing. Ergo, reading is the thing that gives you life. Yes, yes, I know. I just made a complete logical fallacy, but that was intentional. I know my way around. Oh my god, I'm such a nerd. But anyway, back off of the tangent. Back off of the tangent train. Um, Whenever I would speak to people about like books and stuff like that, they say that they didn't like reading, which I see as a failure of the American education system and really just Western society in general. Because a lot of the authors that are read are like white old dead men or white old dead women, and people of color, queer people aren't really represented in the books because they're from the past. Um, and when I teach, I'm going to be teaching more modern books. I'm going to be teaching books like if you watch one of the next videos that I've, if you watch one of the videos that I produced, which is called something along the lines of next books on my TBR. Um, in that video, I talk about four books, which I absolutely love: The Blade So Black, We Set the Dark on Fire, Daughters of the Stone, and Nocturna by Maya Monson. Um, and these are all books with Latinx, with people of color in them, with people of color as the leads, and these books mostly don't have sort of like racism or homophobia or anything in them, which I feel is massively important for just books that we read in general, because I feel like black people and other people of color, sorry I say black because I am black, um, people of color need to see themselves represented in a way that isn't all bad, or rather not bad, but we shouldn't always be portrayed fighting against some cruel injustice. We should be able to just exist and see ourselves in stories about anything really, about fantasies, sci-fi, mysteries, horror books, all this, everything that is out there, everything that white authors and white kids have been able to see themselves and have been able to write about and read about. just with more color because that's what the world revolves around. The world isn't just white, and that's something that I want to fix in the school system, at least in my own tiny way, in my own little classroom, by introducing books that have people of color in them, that have people of color as leads, that show just how big the world can really be. And that's part of the reason that I wanted to do uh, my English. That's part of what I was going to be doing with my English classes, and I was also hoping that with people doing that and with people in my literature classes that they would maybe want to cross over to my creative writing classes and actually continue writing stories like that. Continue writing stories with people that look like them, with people that reflect them, with people that even don't look like them, just with more people than just white people, because it's important. And I know that for me and a bunch of my friends, that seeing ourselves reflected back has been the most important thing for all of us, really. For all of us, and we all love diversity, and I am a champion of diversity, and I've been screaming about it from the rooftops, even when it's not just about black people or bi people or people with disabilities or all this, or people with my specific disability or all this. I just want to see people see themselves reflected back in a positive way that makes everything good. It makes everything better, and that gives people hope. It makes them happy. If you see yourself reflected back in a book, more, you'll definitely enjoy reading more, especially if you read modern stuff, because if you read modern stuff, you don't have to deal with sort of like the same old like literary classics and everything. But the classics are important, of course they are, because they're all part of the canon. But why not have a modern day canon that incorporates more in it? And that's part that's part of what I want to teach, to help make things better and help people see, to help build a brighter future, because the kids are our future, and I want them to have things a bit better than I did when I was growing up. And I feel like we're stepping in the right direction. So I just want to put my hat in the ring and contribute to it. And I also have my badge from my practicum, because I was in my junior year when I left, and because I was in my junior year, I had to go to practicum once a week, and I had to go and be in the school and everything. I'm planning on going back, and when I go back, I'll be in my practicum again, and I'm so ready to get back and start being a teacher, especially because I had absolutely an amazing practicum teacher, and I loved her so much, and hopefully I can get back with her, but we'll see. Fact four about me is that I have performed on Broadway before. Broadway and Carnegie Hall, and for Carnegie Hall judges. A lot of my life revolves around performing and performance. When I was in middle school, I was a part of this thing called Broadway Junior. And in Broadway Junior, we performed sort of like a younger junior version of a popular musical like Aladdin or The Little Mermaid or Bugsy Malone or Once on This Island, which is my favorite musical, by the way. As a sort of culmination and a big showcase of it, we would all the schools would in Brooklyn, well in New York technically, would be allowed to go to the Shubert Theater in Manhattan, aka Broadway, and be able to perform one of their musical numbers on the stage of Shubert Theater of Broadway. So I did that in eighth and seventh grade and eighth grade. And seventh grade was Once on the Island Junior. Eighth grade was Bugsy Malone Junior. Um, and I actually went to perform. I went to a performing arts high school, Brooklyn High School of the Arts, and from there I just was able to perform more and do more performances. They were largely choir, but there were also musicals that I was a part of. I was a vocal and musical theater major. Um, and I just kind of was able to like go and do a bunch of performances, and I loved it, and it was so fun. I've done choir at the Barclays Center. I've done choir for like nursery homes. I've done performances all over the place in Brooklyn and New York. Um, and I also performed for Carnegie Hall judges, also in middle school. It was with the choir director Chantel Wright. I'm not sure if you, not sure if any of you guys know her. She's a big thing in musical in the choir world. I've heard, um, because she has connections. To, I mean, she has connections to Carnegie Hall judges. So one would assume she's pretty popular and pretty famous. So I was able to perform sort of like under her tutelage and perform for Carnegie Hall judges and sort of like dance and stuff on Carnegie Hall stage. Those are two separate events, but they're definitely related. So a lot of my life revolves around performing, and I've been doing performing nearly as long as I've been writing, really. So performing is kind of my second love, and writing is number one because without writing, I'm nothing. Writing is such a big part of my identity. Number three is that I actually can't swim or ride a bike. Yeah, I never learned how to do either of those. I never learned how to do any of them. I just never really learned. Um, I don't really know what else to say for this except that I don't go to the pool because one, I don't like the pool, and two, I don't know how to swim. And whenever I've tried to learn how to swim, I've always forgotten it. So I'm not gonna do it anymore. Whenever I've gone before, I've almost drowned like a bunch of times. Which those are stories. One day I'll have to do a video about like the craziest things that have happened to me in my life. If you guys want to hear it, if you guys want to hear it, like pop that down in the comments as well. Uh, I haven't really like, I haven't really swam much. I don't really like swimming all that much. I'd rather just like stay on the side and just hang back and just like be able to be with a book and read. Number two fact is that I am on medication. I I'm taking medication for generalized anxiety disorder, and I'm not taking medication for this yet, but I also know that I know that I have ADHD and major depression, major depressive disorder, aka depression. Um, and I know the medication that I have only really works for my anxiety. And the anxiety was actually the reason that I ended up having to do a medical withdrawal from school because it was just really bad in the beginning, in the beginning of the semester, and I was never really able to recover, like pick it back up as much as I had wanted to. I'm planning on going back in the fall though, so if that happens, you'll see a new background for a good couple of months of the year. But that is in the future, so we won't worry about that for right now. I haven't really been officially clinically diagnosed with ADHD yet, but I have looked sort of online on like websites that actually do ADHD tests, and I've been looking into like sort of looking at blog posts and stuff from people who have ADHD, and I was a part of the ADHD Twitter community for a bit. Hopefully, we'll be going back there soon. Um, and everything that I heard just really, really, really related to me, and I just wanted to like share this because, well, it's not really talked about all that much. I feel, and especially with writers, a lot of writers tend to have either anxiety or depression or both or something completely unrelated to that. Some of my friends have anxiety. Some of my friends have bipolar disorder. Some of my friends have a bunch of other things under the sun, and I also have it featured in the books. And in Dreamer, Maya has anxiety, and her best friend Rosemary has ADHD. Um, and it's not treated like a bad thing or anything. Well, anxiety it's not treated as like, people with anxiety are terrible. It's more so this is a thing that I have to deal with, and I don't like it, but I have to deal with it. Um, and I just kind of drew from my own personal experiences for those, and I wanted to have them in the book because I feel like they should be talked about more. And your mental health is important. Everyone's mental health is important. Without your mental health, yes, you have books and art and music and all this and all that to help recharge you. But if you have, I don't quite like the word mental illness or mental disorder, but I'll use them in lieu of something else. If you have like a mental illness, like for example, anxiety or depression or bipolar disorder or even ADHD, which kills your motivation and want to do it, or your ability to do the things that you love or take interest in your hobbies again, then they can't really do anything for you because you're busy dealing with the stuff going on in your head. And yes, everything going on in your head. It's not in your head. It's valid. I hope you know what I mean and the distinction between those two. Hopefully you do. But I just wanted to talk about that because it's a really important thing, and I know that a lot of people, particularly in my generation and Gen Z, have it and are talking about it and have been like diagnosed with these things. So I just want to talk about it, and just, and if you have a feeling, if you feel that something is off with you, because until I didn't know that I had anxiety until last year when I got diagnosed and got my medication. But I had a feeling that something was off and wrong with me for years. My best friend knew that I had anxiety or I had a feeling that I had anxiety back when we first met when I was 13. Um, when I was 13. So he had a feeling even back then. And I was only a kid. I wish I had known to sort of like go and talk to my mom and sort of get myself diagnosed way back earlier years ago, because then I would be so much better and I'd be so much better off. So if you have a feeling that there's something going on with you or something isn't quite right, if you can, try and see a doctor. If you can't, self-diagnosis. Maybe not with WebMD, maybe with WebMD, but also like check other sources and try to sort of like talk to people who you think might have it and see what they can do to help, and see if there's any way that you can get help. And um, there's also a place called City MD, which I will put the link. I'll try to put a link to it in the description. City MD is a sort of um, low cost slash free sort of like alternative. You can like go in and get testing for all sorts of things, and they have this thing where you can get referred to people. You can get referred to people to sort of like psychiatrists and psychologists, and I know they work in New York City anyway. I'm unsure if they work in a bunch of other places. You would probably have to um, check and see if there's a city MD or a place like it near you. But that was how I found the psychiatrist that I'm going to be going to for a psychiatric evaluation on the 18th, and they just really helped. And I just don't really know what else to say because it's mental health is important, and I just want you all to be healthy and happy and safe and secure. And the number one fact about me is that I am bisexual. I'm bi. Hi, I'm bi. Hi, I'm bi. Hi. Okay, I'm done with that now. One, I'm bi. Hi. If you don't agree with with this lifestyle, I would suggest probably getting off right now because it's not like a lifestyle choice. I just am bi. I when I was younger, I would say I was straight, but or rather, like I'd say I was straight, but then I'd say like, oh, if people would ask me if I was straight, I'd say, oh, something like that. And I always kind of questioned whether like some of the thing, like some of the interests and some of the thoughts that I was having was normal for other straight guys to have, and I would kind of like wonder about that just to myself, really, and not really ask a bunch of other people. Um, and I come to find out that I'm bi, and I've actually been bi the whole time. And people in high school would ask me, "Hey, are you gay?" Which I'd be like, "Wait, what? Why are you asking me if I'm gay? I'm not. I like girls." But my friends who knew me, which by the way, basically all my friends are girls, it's a thing. Don't question it. There's no like real ulterior motive or anything like that. I just happen to get along with girls better. But my friends who were girls, they would know that I liked girls, so they probably just think to themselves, "Oh yeah, I'm bi. Oh yeah, he's bi." And a lot of my friends, when I said, "Hey, I'm bi," because I realized that I was bi in October, they would say, "I knew it." Literally, they would just say, "I knew it. You have bi vibes." Which also, a lot of my basically almost all of my friends are queer in some way, shape, or form. So I'm just joining the rainbow. I'm joining the community that I was a strong ally in, which is code for basically gay. Gay as in gay as the umbrella term, not like gay as in like gay, not gay as in like you know you like the same sex because who knows, maybe you're some other thing in the community. And I don't call myself pan because I personally just don't identify with the word pan. I am bisexual. I and I just wanted to talk about it because also all the characters in my books are queer. All of them. All of them, all of them, all of them. My Maya's bisexual, Rosemary's lesbian, Maya's mom is bisexual and partners with a woman. Um with a woman. Maya's Maya's friend Astra is lesbian, but we don't hear about that in this book. Maya's friend Shelby is asexual and bisexual, but we don't hear about that in this book. We hear about that in the next book because it deals specifically with relationship stuff in that book. Um, I have a book series that went well, not a book series, but I have an individual book. I have a work in progress that I'm working on right now, whose code name in the beginning was Lesbians of Zelda. So that should pretty much let you know that, like, gay stuff is happening. Yeah. So basically, all my characters are queer, and the reason I make all my characters queer, and it it also goes back to what I talked about with race, because I don't um in Dreamer and basically all of my books, I don't have it where homophobia or racism are really things. They aren't either they're not acknowledged and they don't exist in the world because the world isn't Earth, or they just aren't the focus of the character's story. Because we should be able to exist in stories outside of sort of like all of our societal ills. We should be able to see ourselves in things without that. And especially bisexual people, because I don't really know many books with bisexual leads. If you have any suggestions or ideas, pop those in the comments. I know a couple that I'm going to be doing for June. I have a bunch that I'm going to be reviewing for June, and that'll kind of just take up like the bulk of basically my entire June. Um, so yeah, those are 7 facts about me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you know a little bit more about me. And if you like this video, give it a like, and I will see you all in the next video.